East Africa is the biggest tea producer in Africa and the largest tea exporter in the whole world. Tea is the second most consumed beverage in the world, with an estimated 18 to 20 billion cups of tea consumed every day. Millions of people in the world are engaged in the production and processing of tea, and many more rely on it for their livelihoods. According to the International Trade Center 2011 statistics, East Africa is the biggest tea exporter on the world market, with a total of 522 metric tons coming from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda and Burundi, which represents 23.5% contribution to the world total. This success is mainly attributed to climate-related reasons such as plentiful sunshine, abundant rainfall, rich soil conditions, and a relatively high altitude, conditions that are suitable for tea growing. Cultivation of tea in East Africa started at the beginning of the 20th century, but commercial production did not commence until 1924. During that time, Africans were restricted from growing the crop due to the desire to maintain its high quality. The activity was therefore a preserve of large-scale farmers and multinational companies. However, when most of the East African countries started getting independence in the early 1960s, governments passed various land reforms that brought indigenous
Uganda
Africans.
is independent.
Since then, tea growing has been a major economic activity of many smallholder farmers in East Africa, making it the world's leading black tea exporter. East Africa has a population of about 120 million people, where over 70% of them live in rural areas and largely depend on agriculture for survival and a source of income. Currently, the sector contributes about 24 to 48% of GDP of member countries and is the major source of raw materials for most agro-based industries. However, its contribution to these economies continues to decline.
In the past, agriculture used to contribute about 95%. Now have come down to 21%. Now, to a layman, you may think we are dropping. No, it's not true. It is a question of relativity. It means other economies, other sectors have picked up and are now contributing, and agriculture is still contributing, but the relative share has come down.
Therefore, the development of the agriculture sector will present a great opportunity for poverty reduction and elimination of hunger within East Africa. For this reason, governments in the East African region, through their national agriculture research systems, are already partnering with various universities and agricultural research organizations to find lasting solutions that will boost agricultural output levels and improve marketing in this sector. Some of the organizations include Kilimo Trust and Association for Strengthening Agricultural Research in Eastern and Central Africa, commonly known as ASARECA. These two organizations have helped governments to upscale new agricultural technologies of staple and high-value non-staple crops, livestock and fisheries, as well as training farmers in value addition and marketing strategies. For instance, ASARECA, together with the Rwanda Agricultural Board, RAB, initiated a project to enhance productivity, value addition and processing of banana among farmers, processors and traders in the banana belts of Rwanda.
The project we are looking at in Rwanda was part of bigger projects where we were looking at making juices, making wine, making cakes, making bread out of banana, making banana fiber, making banana pepper. So it's adding value to bananas.
Banana is Rwanda's second most important food and cash crop, grown on 25% of the country's arable land. It is consumed and marketed unprocessed or processed. Coffee, cotton and sugarcane are some of the other most important cash crops that fetch considerable amounts of foreign exchange and employment for the rural populations in the region. For instance, Uganda has a long tradition of coffee production, dating back more than 100 years, and is now ranked second in Africa and 7th in the world. This means about 25% of the entire country's population is dependent on coffee for their livelihood. According to the International Coffee Organization's 2011 statistics, East Africa as a region exported over 5 million bags of coffee, bringing in revenue of over $1 billion, 46% of which was earned by Uganda. The sugar industry is another subsector with tremendous contribution to people's livelihoods. In Kenya, the industry is the second largest contributor to agricultural growth after tea, where approximately 5 million people are employed directly and indirectly. Here, smallholder outgrowers occupy 88% of the 123,622 hectares of land under cane production, while the remaining 12% is under estates. Kenya's total annual sugar production staggers around 400,000 and 500,000 metric tons. With 300,000 metric tons, Tanzania comes second, Uganda third with about 290,000 metric tons, Burundi with 23,000 metric tons follows, while Rwanda comes last with 11,000 metric tons. However, in a bid to maximize profits from the crop, some sugar factories within the region have come up with innovations to generate electricity with one of their waste products, bagis.
We commissioned this project in December 2007. We started, as I said, at about 6 megawatts for the first few months to train our staff in operating this new equipment. And then by December 2008, we had built up our generation to 21 megawatts.
More innovations in the agriculture sector have led to the emergence of new subsectors in the areas of horticulture, aquaculture, apiculture and agroforestry, with great potential to contribute to the region's revenue. For instance, over the last decade, the region's horticulture sector has grown to become one of the major foreign exchange earners due to favorable climatic conditions, which supports production of a wide range of fruits, vegetables and flowers. Kenya is the region's leading exporter of flowers and second in the world. Cotton is an important agricultural export product in East Africa. However, its production has continued to decline in the past decade due to lack of farmer knowledge and inadequate technical support. As a result, many farmers are moving away from cotton growing. The integration of regional markets in East Africa has opened opportunities to balance regional supply and demand, opening up opportunities and incentives to increase productivity. The 2009 Economic Report on Africa explicitly recognizes the potential regional agricultural value chains supported by agribusiness and agroprocessing as the basis for linking smallholder producers to markets for food and other agricultural products. For instance, in 2010, a total of 63 food commodities and livestock were traded across the borders of East Africa, with cereals having the highest demand. Maize, which is Africa's staple food crop to more than 300 million people, was the most traded in terms of volumes, with 155,719 metric tons, accounting for 44%, followed by beans 17% and sorghum 10%. Wheat, rice, millet, potatoes and cassava are other fastest growing set of commodities in the region, with an estimated annual value of $50 billion, representing 75% of total agriculture products traded. Therefore, given the available chunks of virgin land in the region, East Africa has a huge potential and capacity to realize this dream. But for a long time, the region's potential has been limited due to a number of factors in the areas of production, processing and marketing. The entire food value chain, from input supply through production to marketing and consumption, suffers from constraints that could be removed if known technologies, policy and marketing innovations could be harnessed effectively and efficiently. Contract farming, which is an agreement between farmers and processors, or marketing farms for the production and supply of agricultural products, comes in handy. Here, processors and farmers come into forward agreements in the areas of production and marketing of a specific commodity. For instance, the purchaser can agree to provide inputs and technical advice on one part, while on the other, the farmer commits to provide a specific commodity in quantities and at quality standards determined by the purchaser. Already some farmers in the region have embraced the idea in a bid to enhance their incomes due to the assured market for their products. In Kenya, most farmers in the western part of the country are in production of orange fresh sweet potatoes, which they sell to Siwongo Drainage and Self-Help Group that sells the value-added products to supermarkets in Nairobi. In Tanzania, Tanseed International, a seeds company, contracts farmers to produce quality seeds, which they later buy at a predetermined price. Another such company is Tanfeed Limited, which processes flour and livestock feeds. In Uganda, Nile breweries under the Eagle Project, launched in 2002, contracted various farmers to cultivate and harvest sorghum for the company. Similar agreements were also introduced in Kapchorwa between Uganda breweries and farmers under the association Kakofa to produce barley. With these efforts, the East African community has come up with plans to revamp the sector through its 5-year Food Security Action Plan that came in force in 2011. The plan seeks to improve infrastructure such as transport, communications, storage and processing facilities, among others, that will increase production and access to markets within partner states and beyond. Youths are a formidable force in the agriculture sector, constituting a sizable proportion of future progressive farmers and better citizens, especially in rural areas. However, the biggest percentage has shunned the sector for unsustainable menial jobs in urban centers due to wrong perceptions. Most of them lack hands-on skills because they have not been well integrated into the sector at all levels to enable them fully engaged in agriculture. Many of them are busy riding boda motorcycles.
First of all, there has not been sufficient message reaching the youth to tell them that agriculture is extremely profitable. But another area where we can use the youth is to remove gradually, bring in innovations. Instead of asking the youth to go and dig using a hand hoe, if you can bring in a tractor, the youth will ride the tractor more comfortably. We have also to bring in technology so that the youth can now be part of the technology innovations as a way of raising productivity.
This will be a sure way to improve on their incomes and achieve the Millennium Development Goal of having poverty and hunger by 2015. The recent discovery of oil and gas within the member states of the East African Community has presented new opportunities through energy access and increased oil revenues that can be instrumental in driving sustainable growth and development as well as reduce poverty. It is anticipated that the revenue from the oil sector will be used to build infrastructure such as roads, railway and energy sources that are aimed at easing bottlenecks in the agriculture sector. The realization of a regional economic bloc encompassing 5 countries, leading to a combined population of over 120 million, a land area of 1.85 million square kilometers, and a combined GDP of over $73 billion is an opportunity for enhancing food security that should be used with all the priority it deserves.